the Vice President, Nana Nebuchadnezzar, Your Lordship, the Chief Justice, the good people of Ghana, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and let me proceed on the protocol so well established by the Speaker and say, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a profound honor and a constitutional duty to appear before this August House to deliver a message on the state of the nation as required by Article 67 of our Constitution. I do this with the perspective and through decades of public service, including my time in this very chamber as a Member of Parliament representing Bole Bamboy, and my previous term of office as President of the Republic from 2012 to 2017. My journey in public service, like that of our nation, has not followed a straight path. It has been marked by periods of steady progress and then by setbacks and by determined recovery. Mr. Speaker, that pattern of resilience mirrors the national experience of our nation. And today I stand before you to speak to another such defining moment, a moment in which our nation is on the rebound of national renewal and of restored hope. This moment is being shaped by hard choices, institutional resolve, and a renewed commitment to stability and national purpose. Mr. Speaker, in just a few days, on 6th March 2026, our dear nation Ghana will celebrate 69 years of independence on the theme, Building Prosperity, Restoring Hope. This theme is not merely ceremonial, it is the blueprint that guides our administration's vision and actions. It reflects where we have been, it acknowledges the difficulties we have endured, and confidently declares the direction in which we are headed. At the heart of this vision are two complementary and mutually reinforcing agendas. One, the Resetting Ghana agenda, and two, the Accra Reset. The Resetting Ghana agenda is our national commitment to restore economic stability, rebuild public trust in our democracy, strengthen our institutions, and deliver tangible improvements in the lives of ordinary Ghanaians. It is about turning the page on years of mismanagement and confronting our challenges with honesty, and charting a new course anchored in fiscal discipline, transparency, and sustainable development. The Accra Reset, on the other hand, is our continental commitment. It recognizes that Ghana's prosperity cannot be separated from Africa's progress. It calls for a fundamental shift in how African nations relate to one another and to the world, from dependence to self-reliance, from fragmentation to integration, and from reactive postures to strategic leadership. Mr. Speaker, these two agendas are deeply interlinked because we cannot build lasting prosperity at home without contributing to stability and growth across our continent. Equally, we cannot lead effectively on the continental stage if our own house is not in order. Together, these frameworks demonstrate our determination to restore hope, not merely as a promise, but as a lived reality of Ghanaians and Africans alike. As we build on the foundation laid in 2025, the first year of my return to the presidency, we do so with clarity of purpose, unity of action, and confidence in our ability to deliver a future worthy of our people's sacrifice and their aspirations. Mr. Speaker, this moment of national renewal unfolds against the backdrop of a world in profound flux. The global order we once knew is being rapidly reshaped, and the so-called rule-based international system endures only as long as it protects the advantages of those who designed it. Once emerging nations like ours begin to operate within those same rules to rebalance power, the very architects of that order prove willing to relax their commitments. Ghana, like many nations, has learned this hard truth. We cannot respond to this new reality with fragmentation, hesitation, or continued dependence. History has long taught us that resilience and prosperity will not be handed to us. They must be built deliberately through cooperation, self-belief, and strategic alignment. This era ahead demands that Africa must move from a posture of dependence to one of collective self-reliance. Mr. Speaker, it is in this spirit that Ghana has sought to play a convening and catalytic role on the continent. In the middle of last year, our capital, Accra, hosted African heads of state, policymakers, and development partners for a landmark health sovereignty summit. Together, we charted a new roadmap for healthcare financing and collaboration among African nations. And that message was clear. Africa must take ownership of its health security, pool its resources, deepen collaboration, and design financing solutions that reflect our realities rather than external prescriptions. Strong economies require healthy populations, and health sovereignty is inseparable from economic sovereignty. The same logic applies to trade, industry, and economic growth. Africa's future lies in dismantling our artificial borders, removing bottlenecks that stifle commerce, and fully activating a common market that allows our goods, services, and capital and ideas to move freely across the continent. No single African country, no matter how well endowed, can thrive alone in this new global environment. Rather, when we work together, our combined markets, our youthful populations, our natural resources, and our creativity will constitute one of the greatest economic opportunities of this century. Africa must summon the courage to shape its own destiny, building genuine sovereignty across Africa. The Global South requires a deliberate and disciplined plan, one that begins with unlocking the immense human and creative potential of our young people, strengthening regional value chains to add value to what we produce, mobilizing domestic capital to finance our own development, and speaking with a single, coordinated, and confident voice in global affairs. Mr. Speaker, this is how Africa can move from promise to power, from participation to leadership, and from dependence to self-reliance. The path forward is clear. Africa must rise with confidence, unity, and purpose. And Ghana stands ready not only to rebuild at home, but also to work hand in hand with our African brothers and sisters to shape a future that is defined by shared strength, dignity, and prosperity. Mr. Speaker, we have resolved here in Ghana to operate with our eyes open, to protect our sovereignty, and to design policies that place our people first. We'll continue to engage with the world, but on terms that reflect our interests. We will uphold global norms, but we will not outsource our judgment. And we will build resilience at home so that shifts in external power do not translate into hardship for our citizens. Mr. Speaker, when I last came before this House, I spoke candidly about the depth of the challenges we had inherited across all facets of our nation. Mr. Speaker, nowhere was this national malaise more evident than in the economic sector. We inherited an economy in severe crisis, burdened by unsustainable debt, high inflation, a rapidly depreciating currency, and an escalating cost of living crisis that had left our citizens reeling from unimaginable hardship caused by years of general imprudence and reckless management of the economy. Mr. Speaker, I was clear from the outset that recovery would not come easily. But I was also clear that I will stop at nothing to turn this situation around and bring relief to Ghanaians. I promised then that just as I have confronted and overcome crisis in the past, I'll reset our economy and return us to a path of growth, progress, and development. Mr. Speaker, I told this August House then, when I appeared before you last year, that we would have to take tough, prudent, and necessary decisions to restore stability and credibility. Today, Mr. Speaker, I can say to you with confidence, Ghana is back. Ghana is working again. and Ghana is open for business. The fundamentals are improving, and the path to sustained acceleration is very clear to everyone. From the outset, we resolved to choose discipline over waste, reform over excuses, and stability over speculation. As a responsible government, our first order of business was to halt the economic hemorrhage and restore order to our public finances. We tightened expenditure and commitment controls. We improved payables reporting and conducted a comprehensive audit of 2024 commitments to restore credibility and discipline. Mr. Speaker, these measures have begun to deliver some of the most remarkable economic outcomes in decades. Mr. Speaker, as we approach the celebration of our 69th independence anniversary, we do so not only with pride in our past, but also with renewed hope for our future. We are building prosperity through sound policy, responsible governance, and inclusive growth. We are restoring hope by delivering on our promises and proving that good leadership makes a measurable difference in our people's lives. The Resetting Ghana agenda is working. The Accra Reset is gaining momentum. And together they are laying the foundation for a stronger, more resilient, and more prosperous Ghana. Mr. Speaker, our nation is on the runway. It is in takeoff mode. And you are all advised to fasten your seat belts. Mr. Speaker, the journey continues, and the direction is set, and the hope is real. Our theme today of building prosperity, restoring hope is not merely aspirational. It reflects the tangible transformation we have delivered for the Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, our economy has grown significantly. In 2025, Ghana's GDP is expected to reach $113 billion, an increase from $83 billion at the end of 2024. This has placed Ghana among the top 10 largest economies in Africa. Mr. Speaker, average GDP growth for the first 3 quarters of 2025 is reported at 6.1%. But growth means nothing without discipline. Our primary surplus reached 2.6% of GDP, far exceeding our target of 1.5%. Mr. Speaker, we closed our fiscal deficit at 3.1%, well below the projected 3.8%. Mr. Speaker, this is not prudent governance. It is promise-keeping, and it has benefited households and businesses because we have borrowed less and spent more responsibly. Interest rates have fallen, confidence has returned, private businesses are breathing again. Mr. Speaker, the 19th of December 2022 will go down as one of the darkest days in Ghana's economic history. On that day, Ghana declared its inability to honor its debt obligations. We declared a debt default and placed a moratorium on both domestic and foreign debt repayments. Following this, we entered a protracted and complex debt restructuring process. Ghana's debt became a shackle on our economic progress, dragging our nation down into hardship and despair. Looking at Ghana's restructured debt profile, it is clear that those who negotiated on our behalf were only intent on kicking the can down the road. With the largest debt repayments scheduled, interestingly, between 2025 and 2028. Mr. Speaker, we confronted this crisis with action, not rhetoric. We established sinking funds, we restructured obligations, and we pursued bilateral agreements. Mr. Speaker, the result, public debt fell by 82.1 billion Ghana cedis and took our debt to GDP from 61.8% to 45.3%. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the sharpest reductions of debt in Ghana's history. Mr. Speaker, just this year, after the New Year celebration on January 2nd, when people were still recovering from hangovers, we settled a US 709 million euro bond ahead of schedule. We settled a US dollar 709 million euro bond ahead of schedule, completing the US 1.4 billion in debt service that was meant for 2025. Mr. Speaker, and the world noticed. Fitch, Moody's, and Standard & Poor's all upgraded Ghana's credit ratings, the first triple upgrade in many years. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's credibility is restored. Ghana is rising. The heaviest burden we inherited was the very high inflation rate, which was silently eroding every household's purchasing power. It peaked at 54.1% at the end of 2022, and it declined to 23.5% by the end of 2024. Mr. Speaker, we treated this with urgency. Through fiscal consolidation, currency stabilization, and disciplined monetary policy, inflation fell from 23.5% at the end of 2024 to 3.8%. Mr. Speaker, inflation fell from 23.5% at the end of 2024 to 3.8% over 13 consecutive months by January 2026. Mr. Speaker, and very interesting, food inflation, which had been the main driver of the upward pressure on inflation, fell by 26.6 percentage points. Inflation for locally produced goods fell by 22.6 percentage points. Mr. Speaker, these are not just statistics. These translate into the reality of a parent being able to put food on the table for their children. It translates into the reality of businesses thriving and creating opportunities for Ghana's young people. Mr. Speaker, petrol prices dropped from 15.2 Ghana cedis to 10.7 cedis per liter. And only recently, it dipped below the 10 cedi mark to 9.97. Diesel fell from 15.4 to 11.3. And this brought relief to our nation's 3.7 million car owners and the tens of millions of Ghanaians who depend on transport daily. Mr. Speaker, to the interesting part. Exchange rate volatility has long been at the heart of hardship in Ghanaian households. We made currency stability a priority, and Mr. Speaker, we have delivered. Mr. Speaker, we did not arrest the dollar. We strengthened the cedi to put up a good fight against the other currencies. Mr. Speaker, we did not arrest the dollar. We strengthened the cedi to put up a good fight against the other currencies. And I'm pleased to report to this House that the cedi appreciated by 40.7% against the US dollar and by 30.9% against the British pound and by 24% against the euro. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economic turnaround is broad-based and comprehensive. All sectors of the Ghanaian economy have witnessed remarkable improvement in our first year in office. And most importantly, Ghana's economy has surpassed the 100 billion mark for the first time. And as I said, it is projected to place Ghana among the top 10 largest economies in Africa. Mr. Speaker, our reserves currently stand at $13.8 billion from $8.9 billion at the end of 2024. This covers 5.7 months of import. A key driver of this development has been the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board. By formalizing gold exports, we have reduced smuggling. We have increased recorded exports in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector from 63.6 tons to 103 tons. And we've channeled that foreign exchange into our economy. Mr. Speaker, when the cedi stabilizes, imported inflation falls, businesses can plan better, and household incomes improve. Mr. Speaker, as global uncertainty grows, it is necessary for us to reduce our country's exposure to external shocks, break the cycle of economic downturns, and safeguard our macroeconomic stability. Just last Wednesday, 25th February 2026, the Minister for Finance presented the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy to this House. Mr. Speaker, this policy seeks to strengthen our country's external resilience by increasing our international reserves to 15 months of import cover by the end of 2028, supporting long-term structural transformation while safeguarding macroeconomic stability. Mr. Speaker, it is forecast that gold prices will remain high over the next 3 years. And so this presents us with a unique opportunity to build an economic war chest to withstand any global economic shocks, to secure our macroeconomic stability and improve the standards of living of our citizens and build a lasting prosperity for future generations. This is what the GANRAP policy seeks to achieve. Mr. Speaker, we abolished nuisance taxes that were levied on Ghanaians between 2017 and 2024. These included the e-levy, the betting tax, the emission tax, the COVID levy, and so forth. Mr. Speaker, we have reformed VAT comprehensively. One, by abolishing the 1% COVID-19 levy, decoupling Get Fund and NHIL from VAT, reducing the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%, raising the VAT threshold to 750,000 Ghana cedis to exclude petty businesses, and extending zero rating on textiles up to 2028. Mr. Speaker, these fiscal reforms have effectively put 6 billion Ghana cedis back into the pockets of Ghanaians. Interest rates have fallen from above 30% to currently between 18 and 20%, freeing up credits for businesses and households. And according to the Ghana Statistical Services, over 1 million Ghanaians have found employment between Q1 and Q3 of 2025. Mr. Speaker, and 950,000 Ghanaians have escaped multi-dimensional poverty over the same period. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to report that our external position has strengthened significantly. By December 2025, our current account recorded a surplus of 9.1 billion, representing 8.1% of our GDP. This is a remarkable increase from 1.5 billion or 1.8% of GDP in 2024. These achievements have been driven by robust gold, cocoa, and non-traditional exports, and increased remittance inflows. This improvement demonstrates that our economy is gaining strength and resilience again on the global stage. We've moved decisively from planning to action on our flagship 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program. This was officially launched in 2025, and this transformative initiative is designed, 1, to unlock round-the-clock economic activity, 2, deepen our value chains across key sectors, 3, boost productivity and support export growth, and 4, create quality jobs in agriculture, manufacturing, logistics, and services. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank this August House. On 6 February 2026, this House passed the 24-Hour Economy Authority Bill. This has established the regulatory framework and the legal mandate that was necessary for full implementation. Last week, at the cabinet meeting held, I had the honor of signing this historic legislation into law. All is now set for takeoff. This is the boldest economic transformation initiative in Ghana's recent history. Mr. Speaker, in this year's budget, 110 million has been allocated to begin the setting up and implementation of the 24-Hour Economy Authority. These resources will enable businesses to operate beyond traditional business hours. They will attract investment through strategic partnerships with the Development Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, and will strengthen the foundations for sustained growth and job creation, especially for our young people. This is about building prosperity and restoring our people's hope through concrete action. Mr. Speaker, a nation that does not learn from past mistakes cannot get out of the cycle of problems that impose hardships on its citizens. We've just begun to emerge from the most devastating economic crisis in our nation's recent history. This crisis was triggered by general financial indiscipline, huge deficits, and massive debts that were occasioned by persistent and unbudgeted expenditure to meet the ends of convenient politicking. In the last week, we have had to take the painful but necessary decision to revise the producer price of cocoa to achieve competitive pricing and resolve the acute liquidity challenges in the sector. Mr. Speaker, failure to do this as others did and left a debt of 32 billion for this government to pay. Failure to do this would have meant borrowing billions in borrowed funds. Mr. Speaker, this unplanned expenditure would have taken us right back to the very devastating economic problem we have only recently begun to escape. So, Mr. Speaker, while fully understanding the concerns and protests of our farmers, I can firmly assure them that the reforms announced by government will see a total transformation of the cocoa sector. And it will guarantee them a fair and transparent price that enables them to meet the cost of producing the commodity and making decent margins. Mr. Speaker, the difference between economic hardship and avoiding the same is the exercise of sound economic judgment. And I'm determined to take decisions that ensure our collective well-being and avoid the suffering of all our citizens. These are difficult decisions to take, but Mr. Speaker, I had to take them. Mr. Speaker, we are bringing legislation to this House to tighten our procurement processes by banning sole source contracts, except in exceptional circumstances. We'll also bring legislation to this House to make it mandatory to seek Parliament's prior approval before any government asset or property is leased out or sold. This includes lands and state enterprises. Mr. Speaker, last Tuesday, I caused the Minister of Finance to lay before this House the value for money office bill. This is a landmark measure, a fulfillment of yet another campaign promise to the good people of Ghana. And this is designed to decisively end waste, inflated contracts, abandoned projects, and chronic cost overruns that have for far too long drained the public purse. All these measures are intended to improve public trust and accountability. Mr. Speaker, in January 2025, we inherited an energy sector on the brink of collapse that had been precipitated by a severe financial crisis. The sector was burdened with a staggering debt of 80 billion Ghana cedis, strengthening the operational viability of key power producers. The 500 million World Bank partial risk guarantee, a critical risk mitigation instrument that was established in 2015 during my first term to safeguard the nearly 8 billion of private sector investment that was put into the offshore Cape Trade Points field, had been fully drawn down and exhausted due to prolonged non-payment for gas consumed. Mr. Speaker, at the distribution level, the Electricity Company of Ghana was plagued by high commercial and technical losses, collecting only 62% of the energy it purchased from generators and declaring less than 50% of its collection into the cash waterfall mechanism. Mr. Speaker, the result was severe liquidity shortfalls and power challenges throughout 2024. In the petroleum sector, years of policy inconsistency, regulatory inefficiencies, a lack of transparency, prolonged licensing processes, and unresolved legal disputes over field unitization had eroded investor confidence. Consequently, crude oil production declined by approximately 32% between 2019 and 2024. It fell from 71.4 million barrels per day to 48.2 million barrels. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that as of December 31st, 2025, government has fully repaid and restored the entire 500 million World Bank guarantee, including interest. This has reinstated the facility in full and reaffirmed Ghana's standing as a credible and reliable partner on the global stage. Mr. Speaker, I can also announce that we are paying for every gas we are consuming today. In addition, between January and December 2025, through carefully coordinated policy actions, the government settled all outstanding gas invoices that were owed to ENI and Vitol, amounting to approximately $500 million. And so Ghana is now fully up to date with its gas consumption obligations to the Sankofa partners. And I'm pleased to announce that the 2026 budget has made adequate provision to ensure timely payments for all liquid natural gas that we consume going forward. Mr. Speaker, to ensure equity and fairness, the government has also held constructive engagements with Tallow Oil and the Jubilee Field partners, and we've reached a comprehensive roadmap to guarantee full payment for all gas that is consumed. This approach supports reliable nationwide electricity generation and accelerates industrial growth. Engagement with upstream partners has resulted in increased gas production, guided by a clear national vision to rapidly scale up domestic gas supply and reduce reliance on expensive liquid fuels. Mr. Speaker, beyond clearing inherited arrears, a robust framework has also been established to strengthen monitor implementation of the cash waterfall mechanism. Another major milestone was the operationalization of the ECG's single holding account, which is overseen jointly by the Ministry of Energy and Green Transitions and the PURC. This intervention has significantly reduced revenue leakages and it has enhanced ECG's capacity to meet its payment obligations. To address the high cost of power, the government has successfully renegotiated existing power purchase agreements. Engagement with the 9 independent power producers have resulted in a 250 million immediate savings and 1.1 billion of legacy debt restructured for payments between the period 2026 and 2028. These revised agreements will be submitted to Cabinet, and I'm pleased to inform you, Mr. Speaker, will be brought here to Parliament for ratification. Mr. Speaker, under the Rural Electrification Program, 200 out of the 400 targeted communities have been connected to the national grid, with a further 100 at various stages of completion. The national electricity access for Ghana today stands at 89.05. We are committed to ensuring that every Ghanaian has access to reliable, affordable electricity. It is worrying that the Electricity Company of Ghana continues to experience high power losses, with reports indicating that around 25% of generated power is lost. To address this phenomenon and anchor the gains we have made, adopting private sector participation, particularly in billing and collection, is the most effective way to significantly reduce these losses. Cabinet has approved the multiple lease method for concessions in the distribution utilities, and work is ongoing to implement this critical reform. Mr. Speaker, the Bui Power Authority has completed an additional 50 megawatts of solar power. In the distributed solar sector, 30 megawatts was achieved through rooftop installations, bringing our total installed capacity to 250 megawatts of solar, and this represents 5% of renewable energy in our entire generation mix. A few months ago, I broke ground for a 200 megawatt solar power project at the Dawa Industrial Zone, with the first 100 megawatts scheduled for completion in December 2026. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transitions is constructing 35 mini-grids to serve 47 islands and lakeside communities in the Oti, Savannah, and Bono East regions. The ministry will also supply 12,000 new smart net meters from the end of the first quarter of this year, 2026. And under the off-grid solar home system for public institutions, delivery of materials for the first phase of 350 systems has commenced. It means that public institutions are going to be fitted with solar to reduce their power consumption. Mr. Speaker, as part of the last mile electrification effort to achieve 99.98% universal access by 2030, the ministry has mainstreamed mini-grids into the National Electrification Scheme. Consequently, a feasibility study for the Afram Plains North District was completed for 100 communities to receive solar power, bringing the total number of islands and lakeside communities in the Afram Plains North and South to 150 that are ready for mini-grid solar electrification. I'm pleased to announce that the African Development Bank has committed to providing $100 million to fund the construction of renewable energy-based mini-grids for these communities. Mr. Speaker, we've signed a memorandum of understanding with the Jubilee and Tenfield partners to commit another $2 billion to additional investment in the Jubilee field. This will include drilling up to 20 new wells, the first wells being drilled in more than 9 years. Mr. Speaker, there's a second memorandum of intent with the OCTP partners, that's ENI and Vitol, to commit 1.5 billion of additional investment in the OCTP field in the Cape 3 Points Block 4 contract area, among others. This agreement will significantly increase Ghana's oil and gas production, thereby enhancing energy security, domestic demand, and infrastructure development. Mr. Speaker, we're on course to revitalize the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company through a strategic partnership with the National Petroleum Authority, Ghana Gas, and the Ghana Commercial Bank. This will boost production, ensure a steady supply of safe LPG cylinders, and strengthen local manufacturing. Mr. Speaker, I'm also pleased to announce to you that Tema Oil Refinery is back. The new management of the refinery has successfully completed extensive turnaround maintenance. And I'm pleased to inform you that this August House that for the first time since 2018, the refinery has commenced processing of crude oil into petroleum products again. So, Mr. Speaker, let me assure our countrymen and women that the energy sector reforms continue unabated. I remain fully committed to turning around the sector, strengthening its foundations, and ensuring reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy security for our nation. Mr. Speaker, agriculture remains central to our national renewal. Since January 2025, this administration has embarked on a decisive reset of Ghana's agricultural sector under our Agriculture for Economic Transformation agenda, with the Feed Ghana program serving as the flagship vehicle for implementation. Our objective is clear: to restore food sovereignty, stabilize food prices, reduce import dependence, increase decent jobs, especially for youth, and reposition agric as a strategic growth sector under our 24-hour economy policy. Mr. Speaker, as of January 2025, food inflation stood at 28.3%, following an unprecedented peak of 61% in January 2023. This situation placed severe pressure on households and undermined national stability. Today, food inflation has declined significantly to 4.9%, and this has provided relief to Ghanaian families and businesses. Mr. Speaker, this year we have committed 300 million Ghana cedis to the National Food Buffer Stock Company to mop up excess produce, to stabilize prices, and build a strategic national food buffer against emergencies, marking the first time Ghana has deliberately built a food reserve for national resilience. Over 413 institutions, from basic schools through to tertiary institutions, have been registered and are actively participating in the Feed Ghana program. Institutional farming is currently being undertaken by the Ghana Armed Forces, the Ghana Prison Service, the National Service Authority, basic and second cycle schools, public universities, and faith-based organizations, including churches and mosques. A key pillar of the Feed Ghana program is the home gardening initiative. Across the country, families are being encouraged to grow vegetables at home and in their communities to reduce food expenditure, improve household nutrition, and enhance food availability. The Feed Ghana program is also firmly anchored on irrigation for wealth creation. Government is deliberately shifting our agriculture from rain-fed dependence to irrigation-based farming to support year-round production and also strengthen our climate resilience. And so over the past months, processes have begun for the following interventions: the construction of 2 new mega dams, the rehabilitation of 8 existing irrigation dams, and the construction of 250 solar-powered boreholes for farming communities and schools across the Northern Belt and Brong-Ahafo regions. In addition, major irrigation schemes, including the Via, Weta, Tanoso, Bong, Ashaman, and Aveime, are undergoing rehabilitation. While new inland valleys covering over 1,300 hectares are being developed to expand rice production. Under the Global Agriculture and Food Security Program, we've launched a 20 million agro-input distribution project to strengthen food and nutrition security across the Northern Savannah Ecological Zone. This project is being implemented in 12 districts across 6 regions, with a target of 50,000 farming households, including 30,000 women and youth. It will support the production of key staples such as maize, rice, soya bean, cowpea, granules, while promoting year-round vegetable cultivation through solar-powered micro-irrigation schemes for farmers groups and selected schools. The project is also supporting backyard and commercial poultry production, as well as the distribution of fertilizer and certified seeds to participating districts. This will help strengthen the poultry value chain. We're working to fulfill the promise of establishing farmer service centers across the country to modernize agriculture. Procurement processes are underway for a total of 660 tractors, 400 combined harvesters, and other agricultural equipment and implements. The first 11 farmer service centers will begin construction this year and will provide affordable access to land preparation, harvesting, storage, input supply, extension services, and equipment leasing, especially for smallholder farmers. Mr. Speaker, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to cut short for the first farmer service center in the Afram Plains. Mr. Speaker, agricultural extension remains the backbone of productivity, and to address the current gap between farmers and extension officers, 540 motorbikes have been procured to improve extension coverage. 150 of those bikes have already been distributed, and we're employing 400 Feed Ghana district coordinators nationwide, while 10,000 young Ghanaians are being enrolled under a 4-year national service agripreneurial program with annual absorption into permanent employment. So far, 3,000 youth have been posted by the National Service Authority under the agripreneur program. This intervention is strengthening frontline service delivery and creating employment opportunities for young people. We're also placing farmer cooperatives at the center of our agricultural transformation plan. As of October 2025, 70,000 community commodity-focused farmers cooperatives had been established nationwide. And they are serving as platforms to access inputs, mechanization services, climate advisories, aggregation, and fair market negotiation. Government is actively linking farmers to agro-industrial investments to stabilize prices, create jobs, and accelerate Ghana's journey towards food security. A major highlight of this effort is the 154 million Ghana-Italy irrigated commercial farming project to establish a 10,000 hectare irrigation model farm to produce rice, maize, soya, and tomatoes. All produce from this project will be sold locally. This intervention is strategic and designed to fast-track progress towards food security, ensure a reliable supply of raw materials for agro-processing, and reduce Ghana's dependence on food imports. Mr. Speaker, other key initiatives under the Value Addition and Agro-Industrial Drive include rice processing facilities in the Upper East and Upper West regions, poultry feed production facilities in Ashanti, cashew and onion processing facilities in Bono East. In addition, a 40-ton per day soya processing plant is being established in northern Ghana to support soya bean farmers and reduce their feed costs. The share industry is also being revived through secured export contracts and measures to protect raw material supplies. Mr. Speaker, to reduce Ghana's 300 to 400 million annual poultry import bill, Ghana has launched a comprehensive poultry farm-to-table project. These comprise 50 anchor or commercial farmers producing 4 million birds, 500 SMEs producing 3 million birds, and a small-scale Nkukong Kitinkiti backyard and a small-scale Nkukong Kitinkiti backyard poultry program that is targeting 3 million birds nationwide, with emphasis on women and young children. Mr. Speaker, the Nkukong Kitinkiti program is underway as I speak. And the target is to reach 60,000 households. Even before I launched the Nkukong Kitinkiti program, 720 beds had been distributed during the pilot phase to 13,000 farmers in 12 districts. I recently opened a poultry processing factory in Bechim to support expected production growth in the poultry sector. Mr. Speaker, education is important and it remains pivotal to our national transformation agenda. In this regard, the year 2025 was both eventful and momentous for Ghana's education sector. I'm pleased to report that all the flagship initiatives and commitments that were contained in our Reset Agenda Manifesto have been faithfully honored during the year under review. The No Fee Stress initiative was successfully launched in Koforidua, and as I speak has benefited over 152,000 young people, first-year students in public tertiary universities. The number of beneficiaries this year is projected to reach 220,000 first-year students. In collaboration with the Student Loan Trust Fund, I have good news for law students. Law students in Ghana will also be now able to access the student loan scheme to pursue their legal education. Mr. Speaker, the free tertiary education policy for persons with disability has also been launched and is now fully benefiting all eligible persons with disabilities enrolled in our tertiary institutions nationwide. Mr. Speaker, the 2025 academic year saw a stable, uninterrupted supply of quality food to all our schools under the free senior high school program. Mr. Speaker, to further deepen coordination, accountability, and effectiveness in the education sector, this Honorable House passed several important pieces of legislation. These include: 1, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Bill 2025, the Ghana Scholarships Authority Bill 2025, the Change of University Names Bill 2025, the University for Development Studies Bill 2025, and the Ghana Education Trust Fund Bill 2025. To enhance private sector participation in the tertiary education sector, new legislation will be introduced in this House to ease regulatory bottlenecks and remove the requirement to charter, making it optional. Mr. Speaker, basic education remains the critical entry point into our education system. It is at this level that children acquire foundational literacy, numeracy, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills, upon which all future learning depends. Government understands the importance of the basic sector and is therefore undertaking a major policy shift to rebalance our education investments in favor of basic education. As part of this shift, the standards-based curriculum for kindergarten to primary 6 is currently under review to incorporate robotics, coding, and the responsible integration of generative artificial intelligence. Additionally, as part of the ongoing curriculum review, artificial intelligence education will be introduced at an age appropriate and developmentally sensitive, with a strong emphasis on ethical use, digital responsibility, critical thinking, and human values. Mr. Speaker, in response to the persisting challenge of schools under trees, this government has programmed a bold and decisive intervention for the 2026 financial year. This includes the construction of 200 kindergarten blocks, 200 new primary school blocks, 200 new junior high schools nationwide. And I'm further pleased to inform this House, adequate allocation has been done in the 2026 budget. I'm further pleased to inform this House that the government has fully cleared all outstanding capitation grant arrears owed to the public basic schools, as well as clearing all outstanding arrears of BEC exam registration subsidies due to the West African Exams Council. For previous years, the legacy debts to West African Examinations Council have all been cleared. Mr. Speaker, education for learners with special needs is not only a moral right, but also a sound, pragmatic investment. And it promotes equity and strengthens social cohesion. In recognition of this, the amended Get Fund Act has established a dedicated, sustainable funding framework to implement free education for learners with special needs, beginning in the 2026 academic year. Government has also increased the daily feeding grant for students in public special schools from 8 cedis per day to 15 cedis per day. This significant increment reflects our resolve to address the unique nutritional and health needs of learners with disability. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we'll construct a modern state-of-the-art special needs school in Ho in the Volta region, and we'll rehabilitate and upgrade the existing special needs schools in Okropong, Ekwapim, in fulfillment of our pledge also to provide free sanitary pads to schoolgirls as part of efforts to improve menstrual hygiene and reduce absenteeism among female learners. A total of 12.2 million packets of sanitary pads were distributed to girls in public schools across the country in 2025. Mr. Speaker, we allocated in this year's budget 292.4 million Ghana cedis to sustain the free sanitary pad initiative. This commitment aims to remove gender-specific barriers to education and ensure that no girl's education is interrupted due to challenges related to her menstrual hygiene. Mr. Speaker, as part of efforts to decongest senior high schools and increase access and ensure parity in educational opportunities, government is going to convert and upgrade 30 Category C secondary schools to Category B, and convert and upgrade 10 Category B schools to Category A. In addition, facilities in Category A schools are going to be upgraded and expanded to be able to take in more children. Technical and vocational education and training remain a critical pillar of our strategy to address youth unemployment and accelerate skills development. Government will construct 6 brand new regional TVET centers of excellence across the country to equip our young people with practical, industry-relevant skills aligned with the demands of the evolving job market. We're also undertaking a review of the national curriculum to align with the OECD Future of Education and Skills Framework. This will make TVET education more adaptive and resilient. Mr. Speaker, to expand access to higher education and support balanced regional growth and meet the rising demand for quality tertiary education, we've entered international partnerships to establish 2 new public universities, one in Kentapor in the Bono East region, another in Jasikang in the Oti region. I'm happy to announce also that a grant has been sourced from China to establish a new public university in Damango in the Savannah region. Mr. Speaker, technical universities play a critical role in closing the skills gap and reducing youth unemployment by delivering high-quality, industry-aligned and practice-oriented training within a broader policy framework that stimulates labor demand. In this regard, government is going to establish 3 new technical universities to strengthen skills development, enhance innovation, and support national industrialization efforts. Mr. Speaker, the Teachers Housing Initiative is a joint effort involving district assemblies, Common Fund, Get Fund, NAT, and JESOPs. And the aim is to build 50,000 housing units for teachers. This initiative is called the Teacher Dabre, maybe a Teacher Beda. This partnership demonstrates our collective dedication to enhancing teachers' living conditions and boosting the retention of teachers, especially in rural and remote areas, and ensuring that teachers can live, work, and retire with dignity and security. Mr. Speaker, by prioritizing equitable access and expanding infrastructure, we're investing in human capital and laying the foundation for a Ghana where every child can learn, grow, and succeed. Mr. Speaker, our health system. By January 2025, our health system was under severe strain. Aging and deteriorating equipment, stalled hospital projects amounting to 15 billion Ghana cedis in liabilities, and growing workforce pressures had weakened service delivery. Over the past year, donor support to our health sector declined sharply from 19% of our total health budget to just 2.2% today, creating an annual financing gap of more than 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. The withdrawal of support from programs previously financed by partners such as the USAID exposed the vulnerability in essential supplies and services, particularly in remote and underserved communities. Faced with these realities, my government chose to act decisively. In 2026, direct government funding for health will account for about 72% of our total health spending. This is up from 56.8% in 2023. Core health allocations have risen to GHS 23.3 billion, and with national health insurance resources included, total health financing now stands at 34.7 billion Ghana cedis. This reflects our clear commitment to domestic financing and health sovereignty. At the same time, we have faced the growing burden of non-communicable diseases. Today, non-communicable diseases account for over 40% of all deaths in Ghana.